Jazz Ranch hip cat, groovy chicks, and finger-popping daddies. I'm your altered dominant ego man. You can call me Mr. Ego if you like. You know, I like to talk about the KH and various stories about his life, you know, but he doesn't like me telling these stories. But, you know, I want to tell you the story about when he played with Chet Baker. You know, Chet Baker, the famous trumpet player. Yeah, he played with him back in the 70s. Wow. Oh, that's like ages ago. But anyway, you know, he was just a kid at the time. You know, he was like in his 20s, whatever. And anyway, he's playing with a trio. I had a house band playing down in North Haven in Connecticut. And, you know, they brought up these New York stars because New York was only a couple hours away. Or even less than that. You know, they came up in an hour, maybe, you know, from New York. So Chet Baker came in. Anyway, he had the house trio. You were young cats. You know, so Chet Baker gets in there. Now, dig this. You know what he calls for the first tune? He said, do you know Dear Old Stockholm? You know, Miles recorded that song. Well, you know, it's like a introduction, A-A-B-A, introduction, you know, and then then it has an interlude at the end and so on. It's like a complex tune. Can you imagine asking a house rhythm section from out of town, you know, young kids, to play that tune as the first tune of a set? Why not just call it blues or something? No, Chet Baker, and he's going to like try to stump him, you know. So like, you know, KH, he kind of knew the tune. The bass player didn't know it. The drummer didn't know it, you know. They said, okay, we'll try it, you know. So they played it, and of course they got messed up. Now, what happens? Chet Baker gets dragged. He's dragged now, you know. Yeah, okay. Got to play with these young kids, you know. So he sits down on a chair and he starts playing the first set sitting down on a chair, you know. Now dig this. He gets into the middle of the set. He stands up. He looks at the rhythm section. He says, now I'm quoting, he said this, "You're forcing me to play as loud as I possibly can. I'm not Maynard Ferguson, you know." Well, they were so shocked, and so was the audience, that they went like this. And they played so soft that the audience was going like this. They couldn't hear what the band was playing. You cannot make this stuff up, you know. Anyway, the rest of the gig, well, went downhill. But anyway, Chet Baker played great. And the KH actually has a, you know, recording of that night on a cassette, you know. And he even has the recording of Chet Baker yelling at them. So, you know, this is a bootleg thing that, you know, like maybe you could acquire, or maybe it'll be released sometime. We don't know. But anyway, that's the story. You know, Chet, you know the story about Chet. If you read up on him, you know, he was a little messed up. Anyway, I love that story. So signing off from the Jazz Ranch. That's my story for today.